Jesus walks on water. One night, the disciples found themselves alone on a boat far from the shore. The sea, which had once been calm, began to change. Strong winds started to blow, and the waves grew higher and more violent. The sky darkened, and the peaceful journey quickly turned into a struggle for survival. The boat was being pushed in every direction, and fear began to rise among them. The disciples were experienced fishermen, familiar with the sea, but this storm was different. It was stronger, more intense, and harder to control. No matter how hard they tried, they could not calm the waters. The more they fought against the storm, the more helpless they began to feel. As the wind howled and the waves crashed against the boat, their fear grew stronger. They looked around, searching for hope, but all they could see was darkness and water. The situation felt overwhelming, and it seemed like there was no way out. In that moment of fear and uncertainty, they felt completely alone. They did not know what would happen next. The storm continued to rage, and their strength was beginning to fade. But just when everything seemed at its worst, something unexpected began to happen, something that would change everything they believed about fear, faith, and what is truly possible. The miracle. As the disciples struggled against the storm, they suddenly saw something in the distance. At first, they could not understand what it was. It looked like a figure moving across the water. Fear filled their hearts as they thought it might be something unknown or dangerous. The sight was unlike anything they had ever seen before. But as the figure came closer, they began to realize who it was. It was Jesus, walking on the water, moving calmly through the storm. While everything around them was chaotic, he was steady and unshaken. The waves that terrified them did not affect him. When the disciples recognized him, they were still afraid, unable to fully understand what they were seeing. But then Jesus spoke to them, bringing comfort in the middle of fear. He told them not to be afraid, reminding them that they were not alone. In that moment, something powerful happened. The fear that once controlled them began to fade. Instead of focusing on the storm, they began to focus on him. The presence of Jesus changed the entire situation, even though the storm had not yet stopped. This moment showed that the greatest power was not over the storm itself, but over the fear inside their hearts. What seemed impossible became real before their eyes. The same water that threatened them became a path for something extraordinary. Conclusion. As Jesus reached the boat, the storm began to calm. The wind slowed and the waves settled. The same sea that once felt uncontrollable became peaceful again. The disciples, who were filled with fear just moments before, now stood in awe of what they had witnessed. They realized that this was more than just a miracle. It was a lesson about trust and faith. The storm had not been the real problem, their fear had been. When they focused on the storm, they felt helpless, but when they focused on Jesus, they found peace. This story teaches a powerful message for all of us. In life, we all face storms. They may come in the form of challenges, fears, or uncertain situations. Just like the disciples, we may feel overwhelmed and unsure of what to do. But this moment reminds us that even in the middle of chaos, we are not alone. When we choose to trust instead of fear, our perspective begins to change. The situation may not disappear instantly, but our strength to face it grows. Faith does not mean the storm will never come. It means that even when it does, you have something greater to hold on to. Trust gives you the ability to stand strong, even when everything around you feels uncertain. In the end, the message is clear. Fear may surround you, but it does not have to control you. With faith and trust, even the strongest storms can be faced, and peace can be found in the middle of them.